Good morning, everyone. It is hump day. It is Wednesday, the 24th, and we're set with weird news. I mean, there's never been a dearth of weird news, just a dearth of non political weird news. Thank you, Wolfram, for doing the mod stuff. Good morning, Fun Diane. And then we've got Tammy and Jedi Jess. Good morning. So, our first story is that Prince Harry is set to get a huge inheritance on his 40th birthday. So, good for him. I mean, you have to have something since Netflix and I guess the OWN network took down your, super special deal with your wife. I don't know. Prince Harry is set to receive a rather hefty 40th birthday present later this year, according to a report. The Duke of Sussex will turn 40 on September 15th with an eye-popping cash gift awaiting him as he ventures into his 40s. Unlike his estranged brother, Prince William, who received a ceremonial bell concert at Westminster Abbey on the milestone birthday, Harry gets a huge payout thanks to arrangements made by his late great-great-grandmother, great-grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. So there you go. The late Queen Elizabeth II's mother put $90 million into a trust fund for her family and listed that Harry has access to his share of the trust when he turns 40, as of the fund's stipulations. Still, Harry will have to pay taxes and, all that stuff. So have fun with that. The father of two is reportedly set to receive a whopping $8.5 million from his share, which is more than William is slated to get. As heir to the throne, William will in turn benefit from tax-exempt Duchy of Cornwall, a private estate that funds his public, charitable, and private activities. I don't know how the royals fund their stuff, but, William will benefit from the vast wealth of the Duchy of Cornwall, a private estate. So there you go. I mean, hey. As a result, Harry will likely receive slightly more than half of the $14 million allocated for the brothers. The Post has reached out to Kensington Palace and representatives for Harry and Meghan Markle to comment. The outlet notes that the hefty sum of money will be a welcome addition to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's next net worth, which currently sits comfortably about $60 million. Well, there you go. Their net worth was largely boosted by several high-profile projects that they have taken on since quitting royal life in 2020 and moving to the U.S. After setting up camp in Monticello, California, the duo has launched several attacks on Harry's estranged relatives, causing major rifts between them and the entire royal family. The pair went on to sign a dotted line for a series of tell-all projects, each of which revealed bombshells about the life, behind the scenes, according to Meghan Markle. So there you go. I mean, true. I would hope Wicked Wookie that they have smarter people managing their money. Look, even if I were to become instantly wealthy, I would have to have someone to manage my funds because given my proclivities, the entire Sailor Moon store would take residence up in my hillbilly podunk town of Indiana just to, there would be signs. So I would definitely need someone smarter and more budgety than me to deal with these things. But good for him. Maybe you can stop writing tell-all books. I mean, far be it from me to, stop your plan of action for making money, but I really don't want to hear any more of your secrets. So if you could just maybe not ever, that would be great. What in the world is going on? A California basketball player aged 13 stomps on an opponent's head during a game in a disturbing attack. Quote, the size of his shoe was on his face. I can't show you the video because YouTube generally does not like violence being shown by us lowly alternative media channels, but disturbing videos captured the moment a 13-year-old California basketball player stomped on a defenseless player's head, forcing police to launch an investigation on the ruthless attack. The on camera assault happened during a game between two Bay Area teams. Uh, Tambaco United, a Filipino American youth basketball team, and Peyton's Place at the College of Alameda on Sunday. The victim, who played for Tumbaco, caught the basketball from a teammate but was heavily guarded against his opponent. He fell to the ground and lost possession, prompting both players to wrestle and pull each other for a chance to regain the ball. But as the two players scuffled on the ground, a second Peyton's Place player runs over and forcefully stomps on the opposing player's head and forces him into the hardwood. I mean, it looks really bad. The stomping ignited immediate response from referees, who blew their whistles and carried the brute off the court as other players and coaches swarmed him. He was down on the floor, and this kid came and stomped him on his head, the victim's mother, Eva Gingab, told ABC7. And I mean, this looks pretty bad. If I saw my kid, this happened to my kid, there would be a lot of issues, and I would want the police looking into this. You could clearly see the size of his shoe on his face. My son suffered a concussion for the first time he's played basketball. The photo taken after the game shows the side of her son's head beat red with an apparent shoe mark running up the neck to the top of his head. The mother said her son is in a concussion protocol and is dealing with headaches. I think everyone was just in shock. Tambuco United coach Michael Tolentino told the outlet. I think we all kind of went on the court and went to the coach of the other team to say, "What just happened? What's going on?" However, the family of the Peyton Place player who committed the stomping said the boy was standing up for his teammate, who he believed was kicked and punched in the scuffle. The family also revealed that since the video has gone viral, the boy is being cyberbullied by adults. Okay, adults don't get, first of all, adults do not fight on the internet with 12-year-olds. Second of all, why does your son have access to any sort of electronics after he stomped some kid in the head? I mean, I would think that would be like a super mega ultra grounding, but far be it from me. The unidentified Peyton's Place player was ejected from the gym following the assault. There is footage circulating of our team's game this past weekend. Unfortunately, the footage is not a positive representation of our team and values, Peyton's Place said on Instagram. The behavior that was exhibited by our player is not acceptable and is being taken seriously. We do not condone violence. Our players are expected to conduct themselves with integrity on and off the court. At this time, both teams are working together to resolve this matter. Now, allegedly, there was no sort of racial tension involved in the matter. Both coaches told the outlet, this looks like, for all intents and purposes, it does look like it was simply this one kid jumping through and thinking he would get in on the scuffle, I guess. The Gingabs have since filed a report with the Alameda Police Department, and an investigation into the stomping is underway, according to the outlet. The Alameda County District Attorney will decide whether to press charges or not after the police investigation. If we don't say anything right now, this kid will think it's okay to do because he is young, Gingab shared. He thinks that walking away from this situation is okay, and it is not. On Tuesday, Peyton's Place said it removed the player from its roster and that his behavior was unexpected. The behavior involved is no longer playing for Peyton Place's team, the team said. His behavior was unexpected. We are working to assist in providing him resources to prevent this in the future. Violence has never been a part of our team on behalf of Peyton Peyton's Place family, we sincerely apologize to the player injured in this incident, to his family, and those impacted. Yeah, Nate Scholar, I don't ever take with too much, you know, validity or sincerity HR messages. But the mother of the victim or the victimized child is absolutely correct. If this is not dealt with seriously, and I don't want to see the kid who stomped another kid lose, the rest of his future. But if this is not, yes, Prince Harry is the one that married Meghan. He abdicated. Ow, dingus. If you abort a jump, don't dig your nails in like freaking cliff diver. Uh, yes, Prince Harry is the one that gave up. So I guess he's not really Prince Harry anymore. I don't know. We just call him that because, well, calling him Prince would be disrespectful to the real Prince. Prince. But I do think that there need to be some consequences for this child that attacked this other kid, because we keep seeing this over and over again in our criminal justice system. You have these people that have been let go and let go, and up until the point where we had flying, defendant aimed at judge because he had been given parole so many times that when he was actually faced with a you know actual consequence that was coming down the pike, he was confused because he'd never had to do that in his entire life, and he freaked out, allegedly, according to what his sister and foster mother were saying. But you have these entire group of people who, for whatever reason, justice reform or things like that, that we've taken a soft touch to. And then when they finally commit something so egregious that it cannot uh, be corrected by anything short of a prison sentence, you are going to have surprised Pikachu faces. Instead of, teaching kids that actions have consequences, which is your job as a parent. I need someone to thumb through Revelation right now, because fish falling from the skies. Is there a chapter on that? I'm asking for a friend because I need to know which chapter and verse we're in, just so I can plan the rest of my month. I mean, honestly. Fish fall from the sky on a New Jersey couple's Tesla, and here's the likely culprit. God hates Tesla. Okay. Um, I Okie dokie. A fish dropped out of the sky and smashed into a New Jersey couple's Tesla parked in their driveway, cracking the car's windshield. Cynthia and Jeff Levine said they heard the crash outside their Atlantic Highlands home, about a mile away from the nearest body of water, Raritan Bay, according to ABC 7. The car started honking. It went crazy honking, which we had never heard. I did not know how to turn it off, Cynthia said. I went out and Jeff was in the yard somewhere. He heard the crash and everything, but ignored it. When they went to investigate, they found their Tesla's windshield broken and covered in a mess of fish scales and blood. Okay. Um, Look, he just really did not want to be a Gordon's Fisher or Gordon's fish stick uh, minced fish patty. We were like, holy crap, look at this, Cynthia told the outlet. The bizarre incident was caught on the car's security footage, which shows a small fish suddenly fall out of the sky and smack onto the Tesla. Initially, they thought someone with a vendetta against them may have hurled the fish from a car or from somewhere. And Jeff said, "Is someone after us?" But they now believe they have identified the vandal. We also have an eagle's nest in our backyard. We think it was probably the eagle. Oh no, these poor people, they're gonna have to, like, this is Jeff from State Farm. Listen, we have this a-hole eagle in our backyard and he dropped a bass on our front windshield. Locals say it's common to see birds flying with fish in their mouths. The Eagles, the Levines think, must have dropped their dinner. The Levines say they expect to get their Tesla back soon after repairs. Jeff issued a message for any other birds looking to target his car. I lowered my deductible, so if any birds are listening, please don't drop it here because I'm covered now. A similar incident happened in nearby Sayersville last year when a raptor dropped a fish on a transformer and knocked out power to thousands. The birds are taking back the skies. They're going to dive bomb us with fish until we surrender. We surrender and we get those big air blenders out of the jet stream because those, I know they're windmills, but some of those are more responsible for bird deaths than a bunch, like a hurricane, a twister, and a tsunami put together with a sharknado. Those turbines are deadly for some birds, and you know, it just is what it is. DNA tests lead to the arrest of a suspect in a 1982 murder of a teenage girl in California. Police in Northern California arrested a man in the 42-year-old cold case, rape and unaliving of a teenage girl. It saying relatively new DNA technology pointed to the suspect. James Unick, 62, of Willows, about 85 miles northwest of Sacramento, was booked late Monday into Sonoma County Jail on suspicion of murder, rape, lewd acts with a minor by force, kidnapping for grossness with a minor, and during kidnapping, according to inmate records. He is being held without bail. It was not clear Tuesday night whether he has any legal representation. Sonoma County public defenders did not immediately respond for comment. I mean, hey, you can't run, and there are no statutes of limitations on murder. Sarah Ann Greer, 13, was found murdered in downtown Cloverdale, about 120 miles southwest of Willows, on May 24th, 1982, according to police. She had been abducted and assaulted and then unalived, they said. Evidence containing DNA was collected, but technology was not that advanced, so in the early uses of DNA, you needed, I believe, at least a $50 size of sample material to even possibly get, a full profile. Well, if they didn't have that much, they were saving them because they knew that technology would improve. But you needed a substantial amount of DNA to have a test. And even the test wasn't as, infallible. Then you could lose the entire sample and still not get the test accurately read or even pick up a sample. A male DNA profile was identified from the evidence, and through use of modern DNA genetic genealogy testing and technology, this is how they found this gentleman. The popularization of consumer kits for DNA trait and heritage tracking has created a huge database for police to compare DNA evidence to. Likewise, detectives can look at databases of suspects, defendants, and convicted criminals in order to submit DNA to find close matches that may lead them to relatives. With genealogy, investigators may not get an exact hit, but they can get close enough to establish whether a suspect may be among a group of siblings or other relatives. That can lead to surveillance and covert operations to collect discarded food, cups, and eating implements from a possible suspect in their quest for an exact DNA match. DNA genealogy was used in the arrest and conviction of the Golden State Killer, Joseph D'Angelo, and the Grim Sleeper, Lonnie Franklin Jr. Police started considering reopening the case of Sarah Ann in 2019, and in July 2021, they made it official as they hired a private investigation firm to help, according to a statement at the time. Investigators hoped that the latest technological advancement would shed new light on Sarah Ann's death, according to a police statement. Yeah, the problem with this is that my mom has done one of those 23andMe kits, and I'm like, "Mother, what in the Dale Gribble had you sending your DNA to both the government and a corporation?" They already get, all the sites and Sailor Moon places that I pretty much, you know, give them freely my information of my weirdness, but my DNA, no. And sending them money to process my DNA, no. Detectives also blame social media rumors about her case for making the probe more difficult. Misleading information posted on social media has threatened to jeopardize the integrity of the investigation moving forward, Cloverdale police said in 2021. On Tuesday, Cloverdale Major Todd Land said in a statement today, "We stand united in solidarity with the Guerrero family as we witness the culmination of years of hard work and perseverance by our law enforcement officials. This arrest signifies not only a step towards closure, but a reiteration of our commitment to ensuring safety and justice for all of Cloverdale." Yeah, no, I wouldn't. So I'm wondering when this story is going to come out with more details, because we've gotten the name of the person, but not how we've finally gotten all of those little pieces to line up. And I'm sure this will be a fairly major case. And I'll be interested to see how they've used the genealogical, sort of DNA to hit, and how they had to break down all of these information points in order to find this gentleman. But, sir, allegedly, if you did this, straight to Snake Island. I don't care if you're 62. Uh, in y'all, again, I'm gonna need someone to check on what chapter of Revelation we're at. Quote, "The same stuff you see on your TV, a man severed his mom's arm in a chainsaw attack and hospitalized two officers." I mean, that looks like an apartment. I'm not sure that you need a chainsaw in an apartment, but okay. A 34-year-old man in Louisiana is being arrested after he allegedly severed his 70-year-old mother's arm with a chainsaw, then injured two police officers. Y'all, people have lost their minds. John Pittman was taken into custody on Monday and charged with one count of aggravating battery by cutting and one count of resisting arrest, records reviewed by Law and Crime Show. According to a report from New Orleans ABC affiliate WGNO, officers with New Orleans Police Department at about 2 p.m. on July 22nd responded to a call in the 1200 block of Riviera Avenue regarding an elderly woman whose arm had been taken off by a chainsaw. After arriving at the scene with emergency medical personnel, two officers reportedly found the woman suffering from that injury. Uh, Harper said that the medical technicians transported the victim to a local hospital where she was listed in being critical condition as of Monday afternoon. After getting the description of the suspect, the two officers reportedly went to a different residence located on the 3500 block of Franklin Avenue in the Gentilly neighborhood. After reaching a second location, the officers said they came into contact with a suspected assailant, later identified as Pittman, and attempted to take him into custody, but the police said he violently resisted. The two officers sustained mild to moderate injuries in the process of apprehending Pittman, Harper said. They were both taken to a local hospital for medical treatment. The officers then used a stun gun on Pittman and placed him under arrest. He had the suspect had a couple of abrasions and a lost tooth. WTSU reported that one of the officers was injured when they fell down the front steps of the Franklin Avenue home and suffered a broken leg as well as head and neck injuries. The second officer was reportedly suffering a bite wound to the arm, but they had both been released from the hospital by Tuesday. The station also reported seeing police exit the residence with a chainsaw that was placed into evidence. Harper told reporters that the motive for the attack was unknown, but added detectives were in the process of gathering information to determine why Pittman allegedly attacked his mother. It is a very unfortunate incident when you look at it, he said. When you have anyone that's injured in that matter or seriously cut, that sounds like someone with a mental issue, for one. To harm your mom, that's your mom. Neighbor Tawan Crockett told New York or New you can always tell when I'm struggling with a name because I will pause and look at it and try to say it in my head and then think, yeah, YOLO, just go with it. Told Fox News affiliate WVUE that Monday's incident was not the first time that Pittman has been a source for trouble for the neighborhood. That's crazy. It's the same stuff you see on TV, she told the. Oh, I guess I thought, well, then maybe it is Taiwan or Twain. Look, I'm reading it as Tawan, but it's the female version of Taiwan. Pittman was also reportedly accused of attacking a 73-year-old at a bus station in 2023 and is currently being held on bond totaling $300,000. Well, I mean, at least they didn't release him on his own recognizance. In a sad story, but kind of he died doing what he loves, so I don't know that, but it's still a sad story. An elderly man, unfortunately, was killed by some of the recent storms while trying to cover his 1965 Ford Galaxy 500 during a violent storm. Unfortunately, an 82-year-old New York man is dead after he was hit with storm debris while trying to put a tarp over his beloved 1965 Ford Galaxy 500. We understand how enthusiasts would brave wind, rain, and more to protect their ride, but it's sad to see when such an act costs someone their lives. Robert Popple rushed outside when a sudden violent storm struck Castanoga, New York on July 16th. A neighbor found him on the ground wrapped in a tarp after debris thrown by high winds likely hit and unfortunately unalived the elderly man. Popple reportedly owned an ivory 1965 Galaxy 500 for about 5 years, proudly showing it off each morning as he went to the local diner or hotel for breakfast. From what his neighbors said, he's been a lifelong classic car enthusiast, having owned several of them, but he was particularly connected to his Ford. That's why the man didn't think twice about running outside with a tarp to protect his ride from debris being thrown around by the sudden storm. In an ironic twist, he was the one who ended up truly needing protection. Well, not ironic, mostly just like, have it don't they have car covers that you can just have on most of the time? And I'm not trying to be a smartass. I thought they had like those. I'm going to call them fitted sheets for cars because look, cars are not my bailiwick, but laundry is. So they have like the little elastic on the inside, and you can kind of put it over the car like a car koozie. I am sounding much less smart and more repeal the 19th than ever this morning. I do feel sorry that this person, lost his life. I do wish that people would take care of themselves more than things. It does sound like he was just a cool guy who, had a really cool routine of going to just a diner and, hanging out and having fun with his car. But I thought they made car covers that stuck and you didn't have to throw a tarp over it with like a brick in the middle. That being said, you guys know I'm not a carologist. So that's about all I can say on that one. And I hope that, his family gets some comfort that he lived a really good life. I don't know. Sometimes there's no good thing to say at the bottom of the story. Yeah, it does kind of if you have a car that nice, wouldn't I mean, even a carport or something. Look, I am going to seed the ground on a subject I know nothing about, which is cars, and go to something else I do know something about, which is being irritated. Rikers Island inmate with suspected scarlet fever dies after jail staff block medical help. Oh, Wolfram, thank you. Okay, it wasn't as long as I'm not making things up in my head. And I'm glad someone else got the fitted sheets for cars, you know. Well, but aren't they in upstate New York? Is space do like people in the city buy, I guess we will save this for hot rod talk, Mo's next channel. So I will say this particularly pisses me off because my paternal grandfather almost died of scarlet fever. And are you telling me that a an illness that we basically got rid of in the 30s nearly basically killed someone in a jail? Why is the plague coming back? I mean, this is ridiculous. A Rikers Island inmate with suspected scarlet fever died after jail staff repeatedly blocked medical workers from treating her, according to advocates and records. Charisma Jones, 23, died last week, more than 2 months after EMS personnel rushed her from the troubled jail to a Queens hospital, a letter from an attorney with the Legal Aid Society obtained by the Post states. The letter sent Monday to the Board of Corrections raises concerns as to whether jail staff let a fever-riddled, rash-covered Jones, not to mention that scarlet fever is incredibly, incredibly infectious. Wolfram, it would just be me for 3 hours saying, "I'm not a carologist, but I wonder if you paint flames on it, if it'll go faster." Uh, But it's incredibly, incredibly, transmittable. I mean, it's basically the measles, and people this is just absolute lack of care. You can tell when someone is afflicted by a severe illness, and I get that people in jails are dealing with people who may not be, you know, uh okay, you guys also be forewarned that of the 2 cars that Mo has ever found pretty, one was the PT Cruiser and the other one was a Pinto. I have anti-car mojo. I should not be allowed anywhere near car chat. I get that, prison staff is surrounded by people who may have a tenuous relationship with the truth. But fever, chills, a rash are things that you can, I don't think, generally fake. So this is something that's definitely scary. Can you imagine? I mean, this could have become an outbreak all because it, we've not seen this in a long time. We are we are really, really what I fear is that we have a lot of these camps. Now, this is my off the cuff, you can take it with a grain of salt. But what I fear more realistically than another, let's say, panorama popping up, a worldwide one, we have got all of these disparate camps popping up, either of what am I supposed to call them now? Temporarily displaced of homes people and different things. Sanitation is not, being taken care of at these camps. We have bubonic plague and things that are running rampant in these camps in the southern Midwest, and we have other endemic diseases that I don't think we are prepared to handle should they come back. TB. I mean, we don't want to see this come back. We don't. Let's see here. Uh, Many troubling questions around Miss Jones' death, and we join Legal Aid Society in calling for a thorough investigation by the Board of Correction as we continue to gather critical information on behalf of her family. The lawyer for the family, Cashian, told the Post. But else may be revealed going forward, it is patently obvious that the Department of Correction denied medical care to a seriously injured person or ill person, and there's no excuse whatsoever for this contemptuous, inhumane conduct. Good morning. Hey, Joe. The medical records obtained by the Post detailed attempted or repeated attempts by City Correctional Medical Services workers to treat Jones, who had a rash covering her body, a 102-degree fever, sore throat, chills, and vomiting during May 5th and May 6th in the jail's infirmary. But DOC staff refused to let the medical workers even enter Jones' infirmary cell to check her vital signs because they deemed her a security risk after she allegedly assaulted a corrections officer. There has to be a way that if you have unruly patients, you would think that you would be operationally set up for these kind of things. You would think that, I mean, call me crazy, but if you run a jail, you know that some of your clientele is going to be disorderly. So you're telling me there's no way to get vitals on a disorderly person? You're telling me they couldn't have her restrained on a gurney to get her vitals? You cannot let someone's vitals be this off for several days. You can't do that. So there has to be a balancing way to keep safety and do the vitals. I kind of thought that y'all as I don't know, prisonologists would have figured this out before creating prisons. I don't know. But oh, there we go. Several attempts were made to do vitals, medical records state, but DOC officer on duty refused to open cell. Jones, who had been given antibiotics and a steroid to treat presumptive scarlet fever, eventually was sped to Amherst Hospital on May the 6th, within an hour of jail staff once again refusing to allow medical workers to check her vital signs. She remained hospitalized for months and her condition worsened beyond the scarlet fever initially suspected by medical workers, according to further medical records. Medical staff believe that Jones had scarlet fever, although the diagnosis is not confirmed. Scarlet fever is a bacterial disease with sandpaper-like rashes that spread all over, so it is not measles. I am wrong. Let's see. Sandpaper-like rash that spreads all over the body, according to Mount Sinai, in addition to other symptoms, many of which were exhibited by Jones. The disease was formerly a severe childhood disease, but is now readily treated with antibiotics. But records indicate that Jones, who has a history of liver failure, had developed a rash as a potential allergic reaction to amoxicillin, an antibiotic she received for the potential scarlet fever. According to a doctor at New York Presbyterian Well Cornell Burn Center wrote July 10th that Jones' worsening skin condition coupled with multiple organ failure made her unlikely to survive. She died July 14th. Jones hailed from the Bronx and was serving a 1-year sentence for assault, according to New York Daily News, which first reported the legal aid letter and records. DOC and Correctional Medical Services representatives did not return the Post's request for comment. Mayor Eric Adams, when asked about Jones' death during an unrelated news conference Tuesday, said his heart goes out to her family. Anytime you lose someone, no matter if they're incarcerated or not, it's just terrible, he said. There should be time to review. If there was someone that blocked her medical care, I don't know of a time that you should block someone's medical care, he said before emphasizing that she did not die on Rikers Island. Well, there you go. He's like, look, if something happened, it didn't happen here. With a face like this, I could see this woman being a little bit shifty sus on, wanting to do things her way rather than, the Constitution way. She just has that face like, look, the policy says this, but I have figured out a better way to do it. A judge interfered with a murder investigation to help wife of victim faces censure for violating standards of conduct. And I mean, it sounds like this came from a place of compassion, but the judge is supposed to be a neutral arbiter. It is not supposed to be that you are not supposed to be there just as you charge the jury not to be moved by your sympathies, your biases, or anything but, the facts in the case. An Oregon judge is facing a public censure from the state Supreme Court after she stopped cops from interviewing the wife of murder victim who was also her friend, documents say. Deschutes County Circuit Court Judge Bethany Powers Flint agreed that she violated the state's code of judicial conduct when she interfered in the murder investigation and, in a separate incident, criticized the judge who handled another friend's restraining order petition hearing. Okie dokie. Ma'am, do not step up. Look, I am sure your friends can call you and ask you for, that, hey, I'm not asking for legal advice, but what would you do in this situation? Kind of, hey, I don't owe you a retainer kind of thing. But you can't, go in and helicopter parent for your friends. The Oregon Commission on Judicial Fitness and Disability recently issued a stipulation that described Flint's offenses. According to the report posted by the Central Oregon Daily News, Flint received a call about a murder investigation involving a friend on October 9th, 2022. Bend NBC affiliate KTVZ reported that Flint is friends with the wife of murder victim Leonard Peverivi. Flint went to the home to find police detectives interviewing the wife. The judge intervened in the conversation with law enforcement more than once, the statement of facts in the report stated. She also asked the wife if she wanted an attorney, which she responded yes to. Flint then told the detectives that the wife needed a lawyer with her and ended the questioning, the document said. Flint also advised the wife and children of the victim not to speak to cops without a lawyer present. She spoke with the county's presiding judge, Wells B. Ashby, about the incident the next day. Flint then self-reported the matter to the commission. Ashby decided to move any future hearings in the murder investigation to a different circuit court. As a presiding judge, I am responsible for the court and maintaining the public's trust and confidence in the court and judicial system, Ashby wrote in a memo obtained by KTVZ, preserving both the fact and appearance of impartiality and independence is essential to preserving confidence in our court system. The decision to have this matter handled by a judge from another circuit court was made in support of those values and consistent with the duties of a presiding judge. There have been no arrests in the murder of Pevieri, 70, a well-known real estate developer in the area who was found shot dead in his driveway. The other incident that landed Flint in hot water involved a different friend who was seeking a Family Abuse Prevention Act restraining order in September 2020, according to the commission. Flint informed her friend of the process to file the petition and receive a hearing. After the hearing, the friend contacted Flint to tell her she felt she had been treated very poorly by the issuing judge, the report said. The judge later spoke with Flint and inquired into how generally to handle restraining orders with petitioners that appear to lack credibility. Realizing she was talking about her friend, Flint complained about the judge's tone during the hearing. Flint also wrote an opinionated letter about the judge to set aside other restraining orders cases. According to the commission, Flint's action failed to meet the high standards of judicial conduct and reflected poorly on her character. She also violated rules that state judges should not use their position to grant favors for herself or others. The state Supreme Court must approve or deny the public censure punishment. Then Governor Kate Brown appointed Flint to the bench in 2016. Before her appointment, she had served as a family law attorney in Deschutes County since 2003. They're back. And apparently they're still not human and they are not paper mache or cake. But the three-fingered alien mummies found in Peru, well, allegedly they have fingerprints. And they are not paper mache. I'm trying to get to a close-up of the fingerprint, which is the only reason I clicked on this article. But they don't have that. Awesome. New York Post, putting in the pictures that matter. They're still trying to put a finger on this mystery. Humanoid three-fingered alien mummies discovered in Peru last year have straight fingerprints that do not match those of humans, according to an attorney who reviewed one of the controversial specimens. Welcome, Shizzy Raiders. Joshua McDowell, a former Colorado prosecutor and current defense attorney, examined one of the teeny strange bodies named Maria with 3 independent forensic medical examiners from the United States. He and the experts were shocked to discover that the fingerprints on the ET-like corpses were all in perfectly straight lines. These are not traditional human fingerprint patterns, attorney Joshua McDowell told the Daily Mail. We do not see any loops or whorls on the prints on the fingers or toes, he said. I'm a former prosecutor. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I've seen lots of fingerprints, and these are not classic fingerprints. More than half a dozen of these so-called alien mummies were reviewed by a controversial Mexican journalist and UFO enthusiast, Jose Jaime Mason, who presented his findings to the Mexico Congress. McDowell and the U.S. examiners traveled to Peru with, Jose, the doctor, the alienologist, last April to study the bodies. While the lack of human fingerprints is puzzling, he said it would be extremely premature to make any statements about the mummy's origins. One possible explanation for the unusually straight fingerprints could have something to do with the way her skin was preserved, he said, noting that it was very odd. Maria's body is covered with some kind of dichotomous earth. It's a word of earth, a white powder made from sediment of fossilized algae found in bodies of water. So that's what it's not powdered sugar, y'all. It's whatever that word is. So there you go. I don't know that I'd just be sitting there casually just, taking a selfie. Yes, I just can't say it. But it looks like a fun word, and I'm going to ask Google how I say it later so I look smarter. I mean, I'm just saying, if this is possibly an evil, sentient, or could be alien, I am not standing that close to it. Thank you. Diatomaceous. It would have been funnier if it were powdered sugar, to be honest with you, but... However, on the fingers that were exposed, the epidermal ridges I saw appeared mostly to be in straight lines. While no official determination has been made regarding the nature of the humanoid bodies, McDowell said he still spends hours on the case. As a former district attorney in Colorado's 4th Judicial Circuit or District, he took a county coroner from Denver and a forensic anthropologist from Maryland State's Medical Examiner's Office to South America to investigate. He also brought his father, Dr. John McDowell, a forensic odontologist and retired professor at the University of Colorado, who did assist in identifying human remains after the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center, according to the Daily Mail. Again, nice boob shot, but I am not getting that close to a possible alien. No, no, I'm not doing it. The 4-foot tall aliens, dubbed Nazca mummies after the region in Peru where they were discovered, made international headlines for their elongated heads and three-fingered hands, which resembled something out of Star Trek. Masan had been adamantly declaring that the specimens are extraterrestrial, despite pushback from scientists and government officials who say they are nothing more than a man-made hoax. Yeah, that's I'm wondering if we wanted to set it down, if he was um if he was very adamant that this was true, he would open this up, bring these to America or have a freaking Discovery Channel, like they faked everyone out thinking there were actual mermaids around. I mean, Discovery Channel. You have Shark Week, now you could have Alien Week. Think about it, call my people, I get a cut because it's my idea. In January, Peruvian authorities said that these, mummies were dolls that are patched together with glue, metal, and human and animal bones. They are not extraterrestrials, they are not aliens. Forensic archaeologist Flavio Estrada told reporters. One critic, Latin American historian, Dingus, why? Argued that pre-Columbian societies in Peru practiced head shaping similar to the shape of mummies' heads, as they as he told the newspaper. The aliens could have had, been human remains, but just with head shaping stuff. Maria doesn't resemble some of the other smaller specimens, according to the Daily Mail, but fingerprint analysis suggests that some of the mummies are either not dolls or were constructed by some other strange material. A team of 10 Mexican researchers found that 30% of the mummy's DNA is not human, but rather is from an unknown species. In March, a pair of filmmakers working on a documentary about different mummified remains claimed X-rays revealed that the mummies are not fake, although they may not be from another planet. They said they believed they could be an evidence of a new species affected by genetic manipulation. McDowell, however, said earlier this year he actually wants definitive DNA studies done at high complexity laboratories before jumping to any conclusions. Now that sounds smart. Now let's see if that's going to happen. The carbon dating needs to be repeated with more sophisticated methods. Those are things that we are looking for, his research team said in a statement. Our preliminary investigation really just led to the fact that more investigation is needed. The caves where the mummies were found were filled with pre-Hispanic artifacts and has become a target for grave robbers. So, yeah, it could be. They could be our. Oh my gosh. So, at the end of, oh gosh, The Time Traveler, where you've got the Gorlock or the Morlocks and the smart people. What if humans were the Morlocks and we took over from our really smart hybrid species and we locked them all in a cave because we were dumber but bigger and stronger, and we just took over? It was our first idiocracy evolution. The things I think about. Anywho, there you go. There might be aliens. And, you know, I have told people, do not do not text your crimes. Do not, Facebook your crimes. Do not YouTube your crimes. But apparently, and also most tellingly, do not live stream your police chase with a baby in your car. Now you know. We'd love to say that we've never seen someone live stream their police chase before, but that wouldn't be telling the truth. Unfortunately, there are people who try to monetize their lawless behavior, hoping to gain that social media fame, which will help them get a taste of the brass ring. Perhaps that's why this suspect in Los Angeles live streamed him fleeing the police while a baby and its mother were in the car. He was one of three robbery suspects from an incident in Beverly Hills, carjacking the mother and child, so that's why the police were in hot pursuit. The guy drove over medians, charged down oncoming lanes of traffic, and had his share of close calls, all while the woman screamed at him to pull over and let them out. A real man wouldn't put a mother and child at risk because he's scared the police will arrest him, but this guy did, and he went further than that. He eventually ended up at a dead end and had nowhere else to run. The coward got out of the Kia while holding the baby. Yes, the baby. For a human shield, because he's a jerk face. He literally used a child as a human shield when the police had their, force multipliers drawn. An absolutely disgusting display. Thankfully, the police were able to arrest the suspect without incident, and the baby appeared to be unharmed. It was afterward revealed that the 2-month-old child was his own, so he put his own child at risk to save himself. What a father. Ask not what I can do for you, but what can you do for me? In the form of being a mobile shielding apparatus. Lord. In an ironic twist, the guy's live streaming stunt actually backfired if he was hoping it would get the cops to dial things back. Instead, they were determined to stop the suspect because the child was at risk. Darn, when your evil plan for, fame and street cred ends up getting you more in trouble. Who would have thought it? In our final story, well, it's not a gator. Everyone in Washington can relax. A reported 10-foot gator on the loose in Washington was actually a Tigua lizard. So there were no gators in Washington, at least not, confirmed yet. Police in Washington investigated a report of a 10-foot alligator in Granite Falls area, which was found to be a much smaller escaped Argentine Tigua lizard. The Sonoma County Sheriff's Office issued an alert Friday on social media with a grainy photo of a reptile that was initially identified as a 10-foot alligator seen headed toward the Pilchuck River. The Granite Falls Police Department speculated on Facebook that the animal might have been a crocodile. Local resident Shauna Duncan saw the photo on social media and quickly realized it wasn't any variety of crocodilian. I think that's my Argentine Tigua, Taz, she wrote on Facebook. I just checked his enclosure. He's not there. He's very friendly to people and very loved and not dangerous. A search was launched for Taz, who measures considerably less than 10 feet long. Duncan announced he was found on Sunday. Granite Falls Police Department updated its post to confirm that Taz was not a crocodile and he had been returned home safely. you know, I don't care if that's not. I see a lizard that big, I'm out. Nope. I'm not running towards it. Now, my boys, and this is how you can tell boys and girls are just built different. My boys would be like, oh my gosh, let's poke it with a stick. Or, let's see if it's alive, and then we can take it home and play with it. I mean, so what we do have around here is big giant snapping turtles. And I did a girl thing, I will admit. About a year ago, we had this big giant, I mean, it had to be like at least a wheel hubcap sized snapping turtle. And I'm not going to touch a snapping turtle. You want to know why Mo doesn't go into lakes and ponds? Snapping turtles. Them things are scary AF. No, no. Forget Jaws. I'm scared of snapping turtles. So I had to make Mr. Mo come up with some sort, because he kept wanting to lay on our down our basement driveway, and that's where the boys play. And I know my boys would be like, "Oh, it wants to play fingers and no fingers with me. I can see this game." So he had to pick up a shovel, put it in the boys' radio flyer, and take it back to the lake. And you knew it was big when even Mr. Mo was like, "Good lord, that thing was huge." Oh, yes, they would. Look, there are only a couple of animals that terrify me: mice and snapping turtles. Everything else I can pretty much avoid by staying in my room. Well, and deer. But, you know, it's the snapping turtle thing. So you all are safe if you have giant lizards. I will never take them. I will never appropriate, your reptiles, because they scare the ever living hell out of me. Anywho, you guys, I am going to be putting up some newsy news nuggets. I'm going to try to get some legal, or not legal, some political news up on Politically Mo, because there are a lot of stories going out there. So it might just be kind of a longer form uh, video, or I might see if I'm able to stream over there. For right now, I think I've surpassed that 24-hour limit. And then there is no nightly newsy news tonight because it is Wednesday, which means date night. But I will see you guys in the morning, and I will have newsy news nuggets coming out throughout the day. So have a wonderful day. I am sending you guys over to Baker. I am going to try to cover the hearings today. It'll probably be more in the afternoon. I have got to go get the stuff to make my famous baked potato salad for a pitchin. I love how Mr. Mo's work has pitchins, and he's like, "Honey, do we have anything to make?" And I was like, "I'll send in the baked potato salad. It'll be fine." I was like, usually that's the question. I'm like, "Do you need a dessert or do you need a side dish?" Because I've got a couple that are usually go-tos. And if you want, I can share that recipe with you guys, do a short video, because it is it's not quite funeral potatoes, but it is a hit that my family requires me to now bring to every family gathering, along with deviled eggs. So I will be putting that up. And I hope to see you guys all later on today, and have a wonderful day. Bye, you guys.